Welcome back to this channel for practice problems for actuarial exams. My name is Krzysztof Ostaszewski. You can find information about me at smarturl.it/Jedi. My advice on how to pass actuarial exams is at smarturl.it/pass. This video channel is at smarturl.it/pass actuarial exams. Here you have links to online seminars and study manuals for exams P, FM, IFM, and LTAM that I offer. They all refer to the brand name of the manuals that I write, BTDT, which stands for Been There, Done That. This is what you should be able to say when you take an exam, taking an actuarial exam. Every time you look at the problem, you should be able to say, Been there, done that. Because you've done so many practice problems that every time you look at the problem on the test, you know immediately what to do. If you're not prepared like that, you're not prepared. I direct the actuarial program at Illinois State University. You can find information about it at smarturl.it/actuary. If you would like to offer financial support to our students, tax deductible to the extent allowed by law, you can go to smarturl.it/help ISU actuary. Here's a problem for today for exam P on probability. You are given a continuous random variable with a density f sub x of x equals 1/2 x plus 1/2 for x between -1 and 1 and 0 otherwise. Find the density of y equal to x squared for all points where the density is non-zero. And here's the solution. So this is an unusual problem about transformation of a random variable because you cannot use the direct formula for the density, as the transformation y equals x squared is not 1-to-1 for x between -1 and 1. And the formula that you should memorize that tells you what the density of transformation of a random variable is, assumes that the transformation is 1-to-1. So we have to work on this differently. And if you read my study manual, the formula for the density is derived from the formula of the cumulative distribution function. And the formula for the cumulative distribution function is actually very direct, and you can find it from basically common sense. So we'll just do that, actually. We have the cumulative distribution function of x is the integral from -1 to x. We start at -1 because that's where the density of x start being positive, of 1/2 t plus 1/2 dt. Now x is replaced by t because we're doing the integral up to x. So we need to use a different variable under the integral. And this function, the indefinite integral of 1/2 t plus 1/2 is t squared over 4 plus t over 2. So the derivative of t squared over 4 plus t over 2 is 1/2 t plus 1/2. And we evaluate that from t equal to -1 to t equal to x. So that's at x, it's x squared over 4 plus x over 2. And we subtract the value at t equal to -1, which is 1/4 minus 1/2. This becomes then x squared plus 2x plus 1 over 4. So it's x plus 1 squared over 4 for x between -1 and 1. Of course, the CDF is 0 for x less than -1 and 1 for x greater than 1. See that if x is 1, then the formula gives you 1 plus 1 squared. So 4 over 4, and so the CDF reaches the value of 1 at 1. Also note that y takes on only non-negative values because y is x squared, and we derive f sub y of y is the property that y is less than or equal to y, which is the same as property that x squared is less than or equal to y. And you can't say that that's the same as the property that x is less than or equal to the square root of y, because x can be negative. So this actually is the property that minus square root of y is less than or equal to x, less than or equal to y. And that's equal to the CDF of x evaluated at the square root of y minus the CDF of x evaluated at minus square root of y. So we just plug those two into the formula for CDF and become square root of y plus 1, the whole quantity, squared over 4 minus the square root of minus square root of y plus 1, the whole quantity squared, divided by 4. That becomes y plus 2 square roots of y plus 1 minus y plus 2 square roots of y minus 1, the whole thing divided by 4. And everything but those things with the square root of y cancel out, and the whole thing becomes 4 square roots of y over 4, so that's square root of y. And therefore, f sub y of y, which is the derivative of big F, is 1 over 2 square roots of y. And that's answer A. Please remember this is copyrighted material. The problem and the solution were created by me. So I own the copyright. All rights reserved. Reproduction in whole or in part without express written permission from the author is strictly prohibited.